Okay, people of the internet, my name is Odwor Jagero, and you are viewing or listening to Money Monkey. Money Monkey is money, and monkey means tricks. Okay, so we are having money conversations, and money conversations mean that we are talking about investing. Okay, and today I'm having a guest, Mr. Mugah, who is going to be talking about himself. All I know is that he knows about money, and he knows about where to put money. And that is something that I am always interested in, because so before you tell us who you are, I just want to say that I have been looking at the way people are thinking about investment. And the other day I said that why is it that when you talk to people about investing, they're just talking about land in Mulolongo or land in Ngong or Kitengela, and then they are talking about building rentals. Okay, so I was like, why is it that, for example, if you look at the American market right now, or the Eastern Europe, there is a lot of investment in SaaS products. That is, everything is now subscription. Yes. Even VW now has decided that for you to warm your seats, they will need a subscription of $25 every month. Yes. Okay. So I feel like that is. But anyway, so we are going to be talking with Mugah about investing, and the first thing I want to talk to you, Mugah, is who is Mugah? I know you are from Bad Consultant, Consult, right? And so what do you do? Are you one of those people that tell people this money can be here, this money can't be here, this money? Who are you? And then I'm going to ask you your relationship with money. Now, your personal relationship with money. I always tell people that mine is a bit of a trauma, because I've always thought that money is always in short supply. Yeah.
Well, Michael, who am I? So I'm someone who ended up in finance accidentally.
Yeah.
At heart, I'm a thespian. I love basketball. I love sports. But I figured to be able to enjoy.
Yeah, I was wondering something. This guy shows up here talking about money, and he has tattoos on his left hand.
That is one of the perks of having money.
Yeah?
The tattoo was not free. That's the kind of relationship I like to have with money.
Okay.
We'll get to that. So
yes. Yeah.
Strathmore graduate.
Yeah.
I'm currently pursuing my MBA. I've been in the finance industry for about, give or take, I think 9 years now. And I've been learning. So initially I worked for several startups. I've worked for NGOs. And now I'm in the VC world and consulting world. That's where the big money is at. Yeah. So just to high level, that's Mugah. That's what I do.
I love high level. But high level is sometimes like, when you see a plane flying in the air and you're wondering, am I able to, reach that plane and probably stop it like a matatu and go with it. Yeah.
Yes.
So what is your relationship with money?
I like to think I have a very good relationship with money. Especially when it is available, I command it and it responds. You see the way when I call you, I'm like, Jagero, you're like, yes. Yeah. So that's how I relate with money. The other thing I really like about my relationship with money is the fact that the moments when I am stressed about a certain decision, and let's say things have gone left, there's something that I must have done that got me to that point. So for example, when I'm broke on the 15th or the 16th of the month, it's like, okay, let's go back and figure out the first 2 weeks of this month, what happened. So, the thing with money and me is, everything is pragmatic. 1 + 1 is 2. Will never be 3. So if you're broke on the 15th, there's a 1 + 4 you did there, and you expected a 2, but you ended up getting a 5. So it's a question of just understanding. This happens, this directly leads to this. Yes.
Yeah.
So my relationship, to summarize it, for me, 1 + 1 is 2 when it comes to money.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you find it do you fear it? Is money the root of all evil?
I don't fear it. Because of the industry that I'm in. I mean, I have to work with it. Yeah. Right. What I take time while dealing with money is just taking time to think about the decisions and the impact that they will have. Because especially in the space that I'm in, a lot of money is being thrown around. So it takes a bit longer to recover if you make a wrong decision. Yeah. For example, VC world. Typically how VC world works is you invest, you put money in companies, right?
Yeah.
So the process of putting in money, like you have to do a lot of due diligence. They will bring a pitch, you will look at it, you will do legal due diligence, financial due diligence, operations. By the time you're putting in money, you're basically locked for who knows how long, until maybe you exit. How many companies do we have in the stock exchange in Kenya?
I have no idea.
That number never grows year on year. In fact, companies actually drop out of it. It doesn't grow. More often than not, companies are dropping out of it.
What is the reason?
Because it's difficult to have companies IPO. It's not easy. Everything has to align for it to work out, right? So for me, that's how I like to look at it. It's, take your time, think about it before you put your money somewhere, and once you do, stick with it.
So we are going to be talking about investing for the public, and like I told you that when I get and the reason why I started Money Monkey is to learn along the way.
Yes.
Talk to people and learn along the way. And one of the things I've realized with the money, when I think about investing, I get a big deal somewhere and I want to invest. I'm like, I'm not going to give my money to some Mugah that I don't know about. I'm going to put it in a camera. And I know that this camera is going to give me money next year. I want to waste this money, So, and that's the reason why I think a lot of Kenyans are into real estate. When they get money, they feel like that is where they can put their money. They get rent, they build. I'm just wondering if you have 40 units and you're getting 10,000 from it. My uncle actually told me that he doesn't know how long it's gonna take for him to get even a quarter of the money he used to build in Ngong.
Let me put it in practical terms, numbers, right?
Yeah.
In investing, there's something we call coefficients. So depending on the industry, an investment has a specific coefficient. I'll give you a practical example.
Yeah.
Most SaaS, business models, there will be something between 4 to 7, depending on the industry. Now, Kenyans like investing in, for example, consulting firms and real estate. Do you know the coefficient for those ones are? It's between 1 and 2. Basically, what that tells you is if you put in your money, the chances of it growing by 1x or 2x, it will take time.
Yeah.
It will take time. So, for example, consulting, even if you come, for example, to me and you tell me you have a consulting business that you're selling, I'll be like, its coefficient is 1 because I know it needs a lot of work before it grows. As compared, for example, to a SaaS model, how many people do you think VW is going to get to pay the $25 per month?
A lot, I imagine.
A lot of people, yes.
Yeah.
How many people pay for Netflix subscriptions monthly?
Oh, yeah.
A lot.
Yes.
That's the
yes.
So the higher the coefficient, the easier the chances that the company will actually make money, and such investments actually make sense. When it comes to real estate, I think Kenyans are familiar with it because they have an uncle, an aunt, a sister, a brother somewhere who's done it, right? So, practical example, you're taking a 3-bedroom apartment in Kilimani. It probably goes somewhere between 15 and 20 million, roughly, on average. Now, let's say the rent for such a house is 100,000 a month, right? So that in a year, it's 1.2 million. So it will take you about, 15 to 20 years to get back just your money. And you've not even adjusted it for inflation. So basically, if you want to put in your 20 million and get your 20 million at the end of 20 years, be my guest. Go with the real estate. Yeah. That's what I tell people. There's this idea that people want to do Airbnbs. Good idea, especially if you own the house. You're brightening up. You want to do some
yes.
Airbnb. Now, a couple of things with the Airbnb where I have an issue with it.
Yeah.
First of all, you do not have 100% capacity always. So let's start with that. And then 2, there's breakages, there's damage, there's a bunch of things you have to deal with. So people look at it and assume what we call best case scenario. Assuming that this house will be filled 100% of the time, I'll be charging maximum fee for the time, I will make this amount of money. And we all know in business that does not happen.
Yeah.
So again, it comes back to the question is, why is someone investing? Because that should basically determine how they invest their money. Yes.
So then the question then is how do people expand into other areas? Because I feel like I have been actively looking for funds for the last, let's say, 3 years, and what I realize is that people do not know where they can put money. You see, somebody has 30 million, they want to invest it, but they really don't know. So how do you? Obviously, I was schools didn't do any our schools, I don't know whether what they teach in when you go to school and learn finance, then you are taught investment. But if you went to do agriculture, you are not taught investment.
They might teach you just
if you're a biologist, you're not taught investment.
Yes.
So how do you think people would start learning how to invest?
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me look at it from a very basic way. There's a reason we don't eat ugali and sukuma wiki every day, for example.
Yeah.
Let's say on Monday you'll eat ugali and sukuma wiki. On Tuesday it will be spinach and something. On Wednesday it will be rice. On Thursday it might be chapati. There's a reason for that, right? First of all is theory of diminishing returns. The longer you eat the same thing, the more it becomes boring and more. Over time, 1 week you're done with it, right?
Yeah.
So that's the way I like people to look at investments, just to begin with, right? So you can't look at it and want to do the same thing over and over and over again. I'll give you a practical example. Do you remember when we had quail eggs era in Kenya?
Yes.
What happened?
Was that a pyramid or was that investment?
No, it was not a pyramid scheme. It was not a pyramid scheme. So it's theory of supply and demand. If you have a lot of demand, the supply, the price of the supply goes up. But if the supply becomes more than the demand, it drives the prices down. So the guys who actually got into quail eggs early, they made their money. Yeah. I would like to, because I know someone who did, and I know they made their money. Then it gets to a point now, the price is like, 25% of what it was before. Then it beats the point, right? So back to basics. You can't be investing in one thing all over again. So we call it diversification in finance. So first thing I tell people who want to invest is, just sit down with a piece of paper, ask yourself, the people that I know, which areas are they, do they have expertise? Let me be practical. My parents, I come from a farming background. My parents farm quite a bit.
Yeah.
So growing up, naturally, I got to learn about farming and specifically sugarcane and maize. So I'm like, okay, we are comfortable in this, so we can do that. But now I'm farming something else. I'm farming watermelons. I'm farming tomatoes. So there's a possibility that, for example, the tomatoes will not do well, as they often do. Tomatoes are tricky.
Very tricky.
But for example, the watermelons will do well. So, you're diversifying the risk. So, first of all, don't do the same thing over and over again. Diversify your investments as much as possible. And then there's a point you raised about, people not knowing where to get money for investment or put the money they want to invest.
Yeah.
It's very easy to sell someone an investment. If it's the right person and the timing is right, they will give you their money. Because what I usually look at is, what is the value add? What is the value proposition? If I come to you and tell you, I will give you, kindly give me 10,000 shillings, I will give you a brand new Jeep. You will automatically take that deal. You'd rather even borrow that 10,000 shillings because the value that I'm giving you in terms of the proposition I'm making is much more than the money that you're giving me. So that's the way to look at investments. If you want someone to give you their money, sell them a value proposition that is more than the money they're giving you. They will quickly give it to you. In terms of where people should put their money, I would say put money, two things. One, if you want to have control of that money, then probably put it in an area that you have some expertise in. So, for example, there are people who invest in the stock market. You can't be telling your trader to, sell, buy shares if you're not researching and reading what's going on in the markets, right? So you have to have, but if you want, for example, to put your money in areas where, you have no control over, you just want your return, your check at the end of the period. A couple of things. One, figure out how much return is good enough for you. For example, someone who puts their money in a bank, in a depository account, then they're told, I'll give you 7.5% at the end of the year. Now, if you're working with 1,000 shillings, how much is that? So then again, it means if you do not have control, then it has to be either a lot of money or the rate of return has to be much, much higher, right?
There are a lot. Whenever I hear about investment as a citizen of this country, I'm hearing it from people who are already doing it. Okay, so the other day there is somebody that was telling me that they're doing forex trade and they're really doing well. I know that 10 years ago I did forex trade. I got money from my friend with whom we were with in high school, and then he started a pharmacy and he gave me money to do forex trade. I had no idea how to do forex trade. I was actually told by somebody that it's lucrative, and I went to my friend and I told him that it's lucrative, and he believed me. And he gave me 18,000 Kenya shillings. And in 1 month, we didn't have that money. The good thing is that he sort of saw through it and say that this guy actually got the money from me. He was not defrauding me, but I think he was defrauded by the system. So we lost that money, and he counted his losses. Kila mtu akaenda nje yake. So and then I hear now people doing the sort of marketing things. The marketing, it's I don't know whether I should call it at this point pyramid scheme. Like you're going to put money here, and then after some time you get money back tenfold, or we know how it goes.
Let me ask you something. Is the banking system a pyramid scheme?
The banking system is weird. The banking system is a legit pyramid scheme.
Why? Why do you think a pyramid scheme?
It's there are things going on there that people don't understand. But then the reason why I don't consider a bank a pyramid scheme is because they have put some deposit with the central bank. Okay. And the central bank has told them that this money that you're collecting from folks, it can never get lost. So probably that's why I don't.
Is that fact or
that is? I was at Chase Bank, and I was a customer, a client at Chase Bank. When it went down, it went with my money. So I don't know.
So there's something banks call CR. So it's basically they're required to keep a fraction of deposits in the bank.
Yeah.
There's also a percentage where they can actually use to lend money. Basically, how banks get money to lend people is you deposit money, they use your money to lend to me.
Yeah.
What basically that means is if both me and you are, let's say we are the only customers, and we request for money at the same time, we both can get the money.
Yeah.
Have you had instances where, for example, you go to the bank and they tell you deposits beyond this amount?
They told me once that I could not withdraw $10,000.
Yes, and they have a reason. Do you know what the reason is? Every financial system or anything is held together by a set of principles. So the central bank, for example, is there to safeguard those very principles.
Yeah.
So every pyramid scheme, it was held by a set of principles that got to a point that could not hold.
Yeah.
The people who are there, for example, everybody who gets into a pyramid scheme, let's say the earliest people, they usually get their money back. We've seen them, a bunch of them. They usually get their money back. Now the issue comes where, for example, the people become too many for the system to handle. Then it fails. Anyways,
I think I agree with you, but I also disagree with you that moving away from the bank, I think some investment, institutions are set to fail. So, for example,
give me an example.
Like where they tell you that okay, you give us 30,000, we'll be giving you 15,000 after every 2 weeks. Now they use the people that are coming in to pay out these guys, and these guys then spread the noise that give these guys the money, and they pay you guys for the next 3 months, and they know very well that by the 4th month they have nothing, and then they have collected enough to run away.
And this, I always tell people, you don't have to have a finance background to be able to do this. You just need a spreadsheet. Forget even a spreadsheet if you don't have a computer. Just take a piece of paper and write it down, just high level. Every organization, for example, has costs, right? So they're telling you that they're bringing in people. You can put in 30,000, for example. Every 2 weeks they give you 15,000.
Yeah.
So in a month they've given out 30,000, but you only gave them 30,000. Now in a month they've given out 30,000, and they will keep giving you this 30,000
for the next.
So you ask yourself, then where's the money coming from? So bear with me. So at the very top we have income 30,000 from you, right? At the bottom we have 30,000 every month, and they will give this to you for eternity. So where is it coming from? So if you invest in a business that is set to fail from the beginning, who is at fault?
They are saying Mugah got his, and he's still getting his.
Why are you believing them? Why are you believing them? Everybody's bank account is personal. Last night, even an organization, it's personal.
I guess the reason the question I'm asking you, Mugah, by beating around the bush, is that where do I read? Where do I get the correct information? Do I go to a financial consultant like Mugah? Do I go and read it in the internet? Where do I have money in my account before I start giving out money? Or if I'm having a blue chip job and I'm earning 1.5 million and my costs per month is just about 700,000. I have all these things, all this money remaining in my hands. What do I do with them? And where do I go to source for the information that I need to invest this money?
So there's two ways to look at it. So if you're looking for an individual to help you out, there's a couple of things you need to be on the lookout for. So for example, which funds has this person handled? Which deals has this person sourced and handled? If you can't find them, I'm not saying, that they are not as good, but, you need to look at them maramili. Like, is this person like... So, for example, you can't be selling water and drinking wine. So, for example, you can't be selling me that you're doing investments and you're doing very well, but I can see it when we, come for a meeting, you're struggling. Right?
Yeah.
So I would say check the credentials of whoever you go to for financial advice really carefully. If they say they are CPA, let them give you,
if they have said that they have handled 1 billion, they're struggling to pay 600 bob at Red Zone Blue for chapati.
Now we have a problem. Now we have a big problem. And even if they say, for example, I've worked for multiple companies that had money, this is information that should be readily available. If they have referees, take your due diligence, take your time, do your due diligence. The problem with people is, we are lazy. We just want to make money, but
probably we don't really know. This thing is all confusing.
It is very basic. So, for example, if it is an individual that you're going to, basic, just ask them for their CV. Their CV has referees and places they worked for. Some of the things they've done, some of the achievements. They ask for that. If it's an organization, for example, I founded a company called Bad Consult, and one of the things we actually do is asset management. We advisory for asset management. Now, some of the members on the team, if you ask for their CVs, they've worked in specific places. Whatever they've done is documented. Yeah. So, when we tell you, for example, we have a breadth of experience, we are not just saying words. The experience is there. Now, the issue comes whereby someone goes, and claims that, for example, they have 30 years of experience in the finance sector. You come, you don't do your due diligence, you give them your money. Then they misadvise you. Because even them, they are persuaded by whatever they're telling you, but it ends up being the wrong advice, and then you lose your money. Now, who's at fault?
Are they losing your money? Are they losing your money, or your money getting lost? What am I saying? They don't know what they are doing, or they are trying to steal from you.
There are not predictable. There are proven ways of investing, especially when it comes to big money. For example, right now I'll tell you a couple of things that are hot. Fintech, for example. M-Pesa will keep being M-Pesa for the longest time. There's a bunch of things. A lot of SaaS solutions are coming up. And, it's a new thing, right? So there are specific sectors that are good. And then there are those who just like putting money in things that they know. So real estate and stuff. Yeah. Now, what happens is every once in a while, the system gets a shock. The banking sector, for example, in Kenya, Chase Bank, Imperial Bank, if you remember. And there are people who actually had, the money in there, for example, locked a stamp deposit for a period of time. Now, that is a safe investment in an unsecure instrument. You end up losing your money. So there's a bunch of things. Again, the idea is just to diversify your risk, because your risk will never be 100%, absent. Because, in fact, they had the risk, they had the return. That's why, for example, that pyramid scheme, they will tell you 30,000 every month. That's 100% return in a month. Yeah. But if you go, for example, because it's really high risk, but if you go, for example, to our the treasury bills, they will tell you, the rate will be much, much lower, 7.5, 8%, right about there. So again, it's what is your risk threshold? What is your risk threshold? What is your risk threshold? Do you put money in risky places?
But the idea is that you don't even know it is risky until it is risky, until you can see what is becoming, what has become of your money. And the other thing is that sometimes, I've always thought that investing, if you invest in something, surely you're going to get something back. Turns out,
it's
not all the time.
Case. Not necessarily the case.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the case. I'll give a practical example. So, agriculture is very interesting. So, watermelons are funny. Let me just talk about this because it's very
I tend to dislike agriculture.
Why?
Because it's just, for me, I think that agriculture, you need to, the everything needs to align. For example, my brother at home is usually doing this tomato business, okay? And he's relying on Nyakach rain, which is very unpredictable. So he plants, like right now my sister has planned huku kwenye naishi, but then the rains have now stopped.
Now what happens?
And so now the entire thing is going to dry up. and you have nothing.
Basically,
so for me, I've always thought like agriculture, you need to do it the Israeli way, but then it is very expensive to do it that way.
Who says it's very expensive?
Because for example, it's very expensive to acquire this thing, the dome for what is it called? The greenhouse. The greenhouse. And then you have to get the sprinklers. And then you have to get the fertilizer, and then you have to get this. I feel like sometimes something that you just can't do alone. Like you can do the subsistence part of it, but then when you want to now do proper farming, you quickly find out that it's not affordable.
Now it depends. Again, I say knowledge is power. So I'll give you a practical example.
Yeah.
Watermelons, they need money quite a bit. You have to water them 4 to 5 times a week. So that basically...
That is every day.
That is every other day. So it basically tells you can't survive on, natural rain. You need to irrigate your farm, right?
And then to irrigate your farm, you need to sink a well. And sinking a well is 1.5 million.
Yes.
1.5 million.
The question is how,
and then a greenhouse is 300 and something thousand.
Yes.
And then 185,000 from Sun Culture to get the drip system.
The question then becomes, if you're investing, are you investing, do you want quick returns? Because I can tell you, for example, agriculture is not something, if you're going to do it seriously, it's not something you just do, you throw like 20,000 shillings here and hope it will become 100,000. It's not the case. But agriculture is because it's high risk, it is high return.
But masses are always on that range of 20,000. That is what the masses are. Yes. I mean, I'm not talking about Mugah who is going to put in 3 million. I'm talking about that person that only has 10,000.
Even that 20,000. Do you know what people nowadays are doing? And we have a bunch of banks that they actually are able to support you. All they need you to do is show consistency in terms of placing deposits for investment in a specific account. After 5 or 6 months, they give you a loan. You tell them, okay, you come up with a proposal. You tell them, okay, so I want to go and do 1, 2. And even organizations nowadays are doing that.
Ebu, explain this thing. This is shocking. I don't know what you're saying. Tell me that.
So let's say, for example, in a month, you can only afford to, spare maybe 10,000 shillings. That's fine.
Yes.
You go to an institution, there's a bunch of them, right? For purposes of marketing, because they have not paid me, I will not mention that.
We will Google.
But what basically happens is you go to them, they need to see your commitment in terms of just depositing money into that account. And then you come up with an agreement. Maybe it's 4 months, maybe it's 6 months. So long as they see the consistency, when you're ready for money, you need like credit. Let's say you need 2, 3, 400,000 shillings. You come up with a plan, you go to them. They finance your business.
Yeah.
From every shilling, they finance your business. Of course, with an agreement that, once your business, matures and, you get XYZ, you pay them in this particular way. And such businesses nowadays, they actually accept.
And that is any business. So long as so long as you can put the 20,000 for the next 6 months.
Specific organizations choose specific sectors. So there are those that, for example, will choose agriculture-based businesses only. There are those that will choose anything that is solar-related. So it depends, again, on the organization. I think it's something people can look at because it's something that is within reach. Right? It's within reach. I think a lot of people maybe have not gone in that direction because they do not know that it exists. Forget even that. People who have land but do not have the resources to actually till it, nowadays they're doing a lot of grants, especially because, it's one of the biggest pillars, for example, for countries like Kenya to become food secure in the next 5 to 10 years. So it means governments and, through agencies that they partner with, they've actually availed a lot of cash as grants. This is not even money you have to pay back.
Yeah, we are coming to the tail end of this conversation, but I wanted you to spell it out properly. When somebody wants to start investing, what can I invest in 2023 going forward?
With how much? What's your starting point? With how much?
Bwana, there is no starting point. Bwana, there is no starting point. People are going to watch this video. People who are having 200 shillings in their pocket. There are people who have 1 million in their pocket. I mean, this is it's. I am coming to Mugah and I'm telling you, Mugah, the government of Kenya has come to you and tell you, we like the way you think. We want you to go and give direction to all these people about how they move from now on and start having the mentality of investment. Show them what are they supposed to be doing from now henceforth. Yes. I know it's a broad question, but that is the question.
Let me try and give a broad answer also.
Yeah.
To the broad question that you have asked.
Yeah.
don't invest in something you do not have enough information about.
Yeah.
So typically for me, because for example, I'm passionate about consulting. I like finding out about, companies and just, how they run it. I like it when my brain ticks. So, I'll go and do a lot of research, for example, about companies that you're about to put money in. Just, so I would say take your time, look at what is within your environment. So, for example, if I'm up country, I can't be thinking about real estate. Real estate gani ushago? Which one? You see? But when
they pay 400 shillings for rent.
For a month for how, and you build the house using how much. So, for example, automatically real estate goes out of your thought process, right?
Yeah.
But what is available? Farming is available, right? Fishing can be available. So I'd say, look at your environment, make sure you understand it. If you say you want to go into farming, how much does a boat cost? How much is the engine that you put at the back? Oh, right? How much are the fishing nets? Now, anything that is around you, make sure you're practical. Now, if you're in Nairobi now, you see now that's a different ballgame altogether. Because Nairobi or any major city, for example, the sky's the limit. Yes. So do your research, look at your environment, look at how much it would take for whatever investment you want to go into, run with it.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a lot of schemes going on. How do you know a scheme that is not going to profit you?
If the deal is too good, first of all,
yeah,
you think twice. So, for example, there's a reason why even companies in the stock exchange, as much as they make, the likes of Safaricom, they make billions and billions. They not give returns of 100%. Not necessarily because they cannot, but it is not sustainable, right? So, the returns should be reasonable. Anything that is above 30-40%, unless it is agriculture, because agriculture, again, high risk, very, very high return. So agriculture can even do you 200-400%. But if it is not something that is practical, if they're telling you they'll be paying you 15,000 shillings every 2 weeks and you can't tell where that money is going to come from their business model, it's most likely a lie.
No, the last question. There is no shame in selling yourself. What do you do and what can people come to you for?
I wear so many hats. I wear a bit of hats. So, for example, for Bad Consult, I'm just a founder and the advisor. So there's a whole team of people who run it, operations, finance, everything. Right now, I'm into investing.
Yeah.
So I work for a VC company called it's called Gulit. And the reason why I enjoy working for Gulit is because I get to see a lot of things. Because now you see companies come to you and they want you to look at what they have to offer, the value proposition, and if you like it, you put money. That gets my head ticking.
Yeah.
So I like it when my head ticks. So if to sell myself, anything that makes my head tick, it's something that I'll actually look into.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you very much. When you reached out to me and you wanted us to have a conversation, I was very interested in talking to you, and and I think this is not the last. I see that you're bubbling with ideas, and I'm also bubbling with questions that need answers. I think Money Monkey is a platform that we can always leverage on to pass this information to people.
Yes.
And so to our audience, this is Money Monkey or Money Tricks. The reason why we are on YouTube, we are on TikTok and all these places is so that this content can go far and wide. And for it to go far and wide, we need your support, and your support means subscribing to the YouTube channel, touching on that notification bell, so that every time we have a video coming out, you are going to be notified. So help us, help you. Thank you very much, and until the next video, cheers for now. was wondering something. This guy shows up here talking about money, and he has tattoos on his left hand.
That is one of the perks of having money.
Yeah?
The tattoo was not free. That's the kind of relationship I like to have with money.
I mean, I'm not talking about Mugah who is going to put in 3 million. I'm talking about that person that only has 10,000.
Even that 20,000. Do you know what people nowadays are doing? And we have a bunch of banks that they actually are able to support you. All they need you to do is show consistency in terms of placing deposits for investment in a specific account. After 5 or 6 months, they give you a loan. You tell them, okay, you come up with a proposal. You tell them, okay, so I want to go and do 1, 2. And even organizations nowadays are doing that.
Ebu, explain this thing. This is shocking. I don't know what you're saying. Tell me that.
So let's say, for example, in a month you can only afford to, spare maybe 10,000 shillings. That's fine.
Yes.
You go to an institution. There's a bunch of them, right? For purposes of marketing, because they have not paid me, I will not mention that.
We will Google.
But what basically happens is you go to them. They need to see your commitment in terms of just depositing money into that account. And then you come up with an agreement. Maybe it's 4 months, maybe it's 6 months. So long as they see the consistency, when you're ready for money, you need like credit. Let's say you need 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 shillings. You come up with a plan, you go to them. They finance your business.
Yeah.
From every shilling, they finance your business. Of course, with an agreement that, once your business, matures and, you get XYZ, you pay them in this particular way. And such businesses nowadays, they actually accept.
And that is any business. So long as so long as you can put the 20,000 for the next 6 months.
Specific organizations choose specific sectors. So there are those that, for example, will choose agriculture-based businesses only. There are those that will choose anything that is solar related. So it depends, again, on the organization.